This day, Monday, June 22nd, 2015. If Clerk Kornecki could please call the roll for us tonight.
Trustee Aiello. Trustee Bullfuss.
Here.
Trustee Cazone.
Here.
Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Taglia. Trustee Wagner.
Here.
President Bullwinkle.
Here. Could all please rise for the pledge? I'll lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could please remain standing for one more second. I'm going to ask Trustee Wagner to lead us in the prayer tonight.
Thank you, Madam President. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the residents, staff, businesses, surrounding communities, and all those that enter the village of Villa Park. And continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. For those of us with us tonight, we have agendas in the rack on the door as you come into the chamber. So, okay. Item number 3 on the Committee of the Whole is amendments to the agenda. Does anybody on the board have any amendments to the Committee of the Whole agenda? Are we good? Okay, then we're going to move on. Item number 4, reappointments to boards and commissions. A, Carol Marcus, Historical Preservation Commission. B, Mike Orlowski, Planning and Zoning Commission. Vince Gatto, Planning and Zoning Commission. Bob Allen, Senior Concerns Commission. Carl Timmerman, Traffic and Safety, and Karen Timmerman, Traffic and Safety. These are all reappointments. Do we have a motion for the reappointments?
Madam President,
Trustee
I'd
Wagner.
like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Bullfuss.
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Trustee Bullfuss.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Cazone.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes, and they were not able to be with us tonight, so we will circle back and take care of them at future commission meetings. So thank you for your service. Appreciate you serving and glad to have you back. Okay, item number 5 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Chapter 25 of the Municipal Code. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. Property owners are responsible for maintenance of the sanitary sewer service pipe, building sewer, from their building to the point of connection to the village's main. The village has a reimbursement policy in place for residents, but the village municipal code does not require repairs to private building sewers when they become defective. Under the proposed ordinance, village staff would be given the authority to inspect, televise the building sewer in a proposed infrastructure project area. If the sewer is found to be defective, the property owner would be given a 30-day time limit to complete the repairs themselves. The work could also be incorporated into the infrastructure project. The work would be eligible for the $1,000 village subsidy through the building sewer reimbursement program. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay, how about the board?
Madam President?
Oh, Trustee Wagner.
Thank you. My first question is, I assume that we have the equipment to camera line, that the village has the equipment to camera line?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
Televised.
Okay.
To televise line.
Okay.
How would we know if a resident's sewer line is collapsed? I mean, beyond televising the line, is there some other method we can determine if it's
We have
besides them telling us?
we have our Director of Public Works, Vitas Giscalis, approaching the podium.
Well, if it is totally collapsed, eventually it'll be backing up into the house because people can't get out to the main. But otherwise, televising is really the only effective way to determine the condition of the pipe, short of digging it up ahead of time.
Trustee Wagner?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I think the manager might want to add something to that particular item, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I should have mentioned when I read this, that the whole premise behind this is that when we do an infrastructure project or a road project, if you will, the whole idea is to make sure that the sewer service lines are operable and good repair before we redo the road, so we don't have to come back and cut the road to repair the sewer line after the road's done. And when we went through the 2014 bond referendum, that's what we told the folks, that we don't want to come back and do repairs underneath the road once the brand new road has been, or once the road's been resurfaced into a new road. We want to complete all the repairs prior to the road being done. And this is one of the mechanisms to get us to that point.
To add to that, we actually had a close call in the North Michigan project. We had a collapse. Fortunately, it was right behind the curb, and we were able to dig down and make the repair without digging into the street. But that's sort of what prompted us to look into this ordinance. We did not want that to happen again.
And just one other question,
Sure,
just so
please.
that I'm absolutely clear. So as it's kind of a carrot in this, we'll also restore the sidewalk and the street and put new backfill in to kind of as an incentive for them to.
That is correct.
Okay.
Under our current ordinances, the homeowner is only responsible for the actual repair. The village provides stone backfill, and we will restore the area, be it asphalt, concrete, or parkway. And that's on any repair, not just with an infrastructure project.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, Trustee Bolfus. I'll get to you in a minute, Trustee Case.
I can understand the need of having to do this when we're redoing the streets so we don't have to dig them up. But when I look at the ordinance itself, which we got in our packet, I do have some concerns about this one section here, 25-437A, where it states, this is the actual ordinance, the Director of Public Works or his or her designee bearing proper credentials and identification is hereby authorized as part of the village infrastructure improvement program, including the sanitary sewer reimbursement policy, to enter at all reasonable hours any premises as necessary to inspect the building's sewer connection directly or indirectly to the village sanitary sewer or combined sewer for the purpose of determining compliance with the provisions of this chapter. The Director of Public Works or his or her designee shall be permitted to enter all private properties with a building sewer connection, directly or indirectly, to the village public sewer system in order to observe, inspect, measure, repair, or maintain the building sewer. Now my question is, that sounds like it's pretty, I can come into your house, the village can come into your house to inspect your sewer as long as I show you proper identification. And that's what I'm having trouble with.
I would defer to the attorney for the language, but basically the two ways to televise the service are either through the clean out. If there is no clean out, you have to go inside and televise through the inside. But
Our obligation as a village, recognizing your concern, and it's a serious concern, is to also let the public know. That's the way the ordinance has to read. Our building code allows our inspectors to go in. The issue is, and we have to educate our public as well as our staff, that an owner has every right to say no. A tenant has every right to say no. And that exists whether it's sewer inspection or it's building code inspections. If that happens, by law, our staff must go and get a warrant from a judge for both the owner and the tenant, so that if you have an owner that says yes, but you have a tenant that says no, you may not go in. If you have a tenant that says yes and an owner that says no, you may not go in, whether it's sewer inspection or building inspection. So our ordinances read this way, which are onerous. I agree the language is onerous. On the other hand, if we don't give our village staff the permission, and we could never ever get in, period, even with the homeowner that wants to cooperate. I myself have been in the town in which I live, the subject of this ordinance. And we had the same ordinance, and it was a project, it was about 15 years ago, where they were trying to separate storm sewer, sanitary sewer. And we were forced, and if you refused, it was this way. So I would like, and I hope this is televised, this does not take away the right of any property owner, any tenant, anyone that has an interest in property to say no. And we must make sure that our staff understands no is no, and that they don't force themselves in. And I trust you, Vitas, to do that and comply with the law. That is the law.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have one
Okay,
more thing.
sure, please do.
In the part that the manager read, it says here, if the sewer is found to be defective, the property owner will be given 30-day time limit to complete the repairs themselves. You know, that's a short time. But in your stormwater reimbursement, sanitary reimbursement policy, that just states in there that the date will be on the violation, the notice of it, they have to be repaired. It doesn't say 30 days in there. But you know, if you're a senior citizen living on a fixed income, if you're a young family who has, you know, a number of kids, you know, trying to make ends meet, they come and say you need to fix this sewer problem within 30 days, which could cost $6,000, $10,000. Who knows what the price is? That's a lot of money to have notified that you have to come up with in 30 days to fix the problem. I don't know the answer to get around that because the problem needs to be fixed. We want to go ahead with the road improvement. If there's some way we can do the road improvement and maybe make the stub or whatever you call it from the main onto their property repaired, and then let them come back at a later date and hook onto that stub later.
As a
But-
practical matter, you'd have to include the repairs in the project and make some type of arrangements for repayment.
You know, it's practical, but let's say somebody knocked on your door and said, Vitas or whoever, your sewer needs to be fixed in 30 days. It's going to cost you $12,000. You know, how are you going to come up with $12,000?
The repairs typically, if they're part of a road project, will not cost anywhere near that. And the $1,000 subsidy on Michigan, for instance, pretty much covered the cost of the repair. So I don't think we ended up billing the homeowners. If we billed them $1,000, I'd be surprised. So the scenario you're mentioning, I mean, unless you're talking about digging up St. Charles Road or something very deep, is probably not going to happen. That's the whole reason for wanting to include these with the the road projects. That's the time the street's going to be dug up anyway, and that's the most inexpensive time to do the work.
Sure.
So-
but if my sewer line is broken halfway between the street and my house, it's all going to have to be dug up. You know, and that's where the problem comes in.
I think the ordinance only addresses if the break is within the right-of-way. If it's on private property.
I didn't see that. I read that you're going to televise the sewers, and if you find a break, because you have the inflow issue too that we're
Right.
trying to solve.
Because the inflow ordinance gives you 180 days currently.
That one gives you 180 days. Okay.
So if we could apply this to just the right-of-way,
If
then.
or the better thing to do is to state within a reasonable time.
Right.
Because it may be 15 days by a resident that is capable, and that would facilitate your road project. It may be a scenario like you explained, in which case 60 days works with your road project and would give the
Right.
resident or the property owner the opportunity.
Well, they'll be televising them way before they actually do the road project.
Right.
So there'll be time in there. But if you're a homeowner, you got to come up with the money. You got to get 1, 2 bids. You know, that takes time.
I mean,
don't
typically,
think
we
you can do it in
televise
30
6
days.
months or more
Right.
ahead of time. So we
So
will have
if it-
ample time to
So I
work
would say, if
something
we
out.
could, I don't see anywhere it's written in an ordinance or anything, but have it in a reasonable amount of time. So,
And just piggybacking off of what Trustee Bolthus said, in regards to the scenario that occurred on North Michigan, was that a typical scenario from a cost perspective? Or is that what you normally
Well,
see when those things happen?
on that project,
To try to
we-
avoid something like this?
On that project, we asked for residents to allow us to televise their services on a voluntary basis. About half of them did. This was one that did not. The sewer failed after the project. So we did not even have a TV tape because we were not given permission to televise the line.
Okay. So a lesson learned there, I guess.
so that
But,
reasonable amount of time.
yeah. Okay.
It says in one ordinance, it says on the notice, the
Right.
time will be
Right.
stated.
Right.
But this here said
Right.
different, so,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Trustee Case.
That's all PVC from the sewer to the, from the parkway. to there.
Currently, we use PVC, but most of what we find in the ground is clay.
Yeah.
But as we go on, we're putting PVC.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And then you connect to whatever they got in their front yard.
Right.
Most of the time,
Right.
it's the iron or cast iron. the old cast iron pipes, or what?
Well, we would bring it to the property line unless there's some type of arrangements to do the work on private property. Typically, we only work within our right-of-way.
But, I mean, we eliminated all our cast iron, we're all PVC now with.
That's correct.
Okay,
We have to follow the state plumbing codes now.
right, but we used, a long time ago, 4 years ago, I don't even think we allowed PVC
For sewer pipe, we did.
coming out of the house.
Mine's 20-some years old, PVC.
What did we, I thought we passed something 4 years ago. I remember
That
it
was
was,
sprinklers and stuff.
Oh, you're talking through the wall of the foundation. I
Through the
think you're right.
foundation?
I think through the wall of the foundation,
We
at
did.
one time, we did not allow PVC.
yeah, like 4 years ago, we finally passed that. It
Well, now
allowed
the
PVC.
state plumbing code allows it, we
Okay.
have to comply with that.
Okay, yeah, I remember we had that problem, okay.
You good?
Yep.
Good, okay. Anybody else? Are we good? Okay. So we'll do a roll call vote on this, and we'll make the note in the ordinance reasonable time. We'll make sure that's duly noted. Okay.
Okay, trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Item number 6 on the committee of the whole, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale by public auction of surplus personal property owned by the village. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Ronnie. Each year, the Villa Park Police Department sponsors a public auction as a means to dispose of the village's surplus personal property. It is proposed that the auction be held at the Villa Park Public Works Building at 28 West Home, beginning at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, July 4th, 2015. An ordinance is required to authorize the auction sale of the listed items. And, Your Honor, I believe in the ordinance, there is, I think, 24 different items, and I believe they're all
Yes.
bicycles.
Yeah, I'm digging around looking for it right now, actually, so I know I've got it in my pile here. Yeah, there's all sorts of, there's a black red Schwinn mountain bike, various BMX bikes, pink Magna Glacier Point, yellow Charge, green Iron Horse mountain bike, a white Tony Hawk BMX bike. There's all sorts of bikes here, yeah. So, all right. Any questions or comments from the public in regards to that item? Thank you. Good. How about the board? Okay. Oh, Trustee Kazone.
I just got a quick question. Why are we having this on the 4th of July? Do you think that's, we'll lose a lot of people that may come to it being on vacation out of town?
Thank you, Ron. I don't believe so. In fact, and I said this earlier when I taped the agenda, if folks don't get there about 8:30, that I think all the bikes will probably be gone by 10 to 9.
Okay.
I mean, they just fly out of there.
Yeah.
So folks at home, come early.
And we've done this on the 4th of July before, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
For several years now, maybe, and so it seems to be pretty well attended.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, right before the parade, so, okay. Great question, though, Trustee Kazone. Okay, Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. I noticed that a fair number of these do not have serial numbers on them, and I know people have had their bikes stolen at the metro station, at the library, et cetera. Can we assume that these were thefts? And normally a bicycle would have a serial number on it.
Would the police chief like to? Here comes Chief Bob Pavlicek.
We do all our due diligence to match up any bikes that we find, and we find them laying, or a lot of these, calls laying in my front yard. Did it come from another town? Did some child leave it out? And some of the lesser expensive brands, they don't even put serial numbers on them anymore.
Okay. So we check police reports to see if
Yeah,
there's been a theft.
yeah, because and inevitably, every once in a while, a great tradition, and we have this 4th of July, but every once in a while, we'll have somebody show up right at the preview of the auction and say, that might be mine, and then we got to try and figure out a way to document that. But we go through them pretty closely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
That's all I
Thank
had.
you very much. You good? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Okay, item number 7 on the committee of the whole. Consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the purchase of a new fire department ambulance from Foster Coach Sales Incorporated. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The cost of the ambulance will be $199,027 and will be purchased from Foster Coach Sales, Inc. in Sterling, Illinois. The new ambulance will be replacing Medic 80, which is a 1999 MedTech 4700. The new ambulance will also be equipped with a Stryker Power Load loading cot fastener system. The cost of the Stryker Power Cot loading system will be $45,590. The Power Cot loading system lifts and lowers the cot into and out of the ambulance, reducing spinal loads and the risk of trauma injuries to our paramedics. The cost for the ambulance and the cot equipment is $246,617. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay, how about the board? Anybody have any questions? Board? Much needed piece of equipment. We're finally checking off the list and getting these things replaced. This one, what do we say, from 1999? At least we're not talking about the 80s. You know, we keep going back to the 80s, but now we're 1999. But it's time. It gets, you run a lot of calls, and it's time to get this piece of equipment replaced. So it's costing us a fortune to repair anyway. Trustee Bolfus.
Are we going to finance this? Or we're not going to pay cash, we're going to have cash. We're going to finance it over a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, our plan is that, and it's not in here, but the ambulance will take 8 to 9 months to manufacture. During that point in time, we should have the new fire truck in hand and the grant proceeds from the fire truck and the process all worked out, and probably put down a significant deposit on this so that the finance over 5 years will be lower than expected.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think we had some money set aside for the fire truck, so maybe anything left over from that perhaps can go towards this, but it sounds like a good plan. Okay, any other questions before we roll call? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Okay. You're very welcome. Our Fire Chief Ron Rakosnick's in the audience here tonight, so you're very welcome. Okay, item number 8 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a sanitary sewer reimbursement policy. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Village of Villa Park has a reimbursement policy regarding the correction of building sewer problems on private and or public property within the village. The policy was revised in 2013 and currently provides up to $1,000 assistance per building, sewer, or address. Eligible work can include repair or replacement of the sanitary sewer service, installation of a check valve, removal of a foundation drain, and disconnection of a yard area or stairwell drain connected to the building sewer. Proposed new language to the reimbursement policy would not change the amount of the subsidy or eligibility criteria. It is intended to clarify the meaning and intent of the previously adopted policy. Thank you, Ron.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay, how about the board? Anybody? We good? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Okay, item number 9 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing acceptance of a proposal from John Neri Construction Company Incorporated of Addison, Illinois, for point repairs at 4 locations and waiving the requirement of competitive bidding. Manager Keener, and maybe you can also explain the reason why we're waiving the competitive bidding too. So when you're done reading it.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
There are 4 locations of sanitary sewer main in need of repair located within the proposed improvements of the 2015 street resurfacing program. Staff requested proposals from 2 contractors to perform the point repairs. John Neri Construction Company, Inc. of Addison, Illinois submitted the lowest cost proposal. Staff requests acceptance of the proposal from John Neri Construction in the amount of $22,700. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. All right, questions and comments from the public. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. You know the drill. Got the autograph going. We'll give you 3 minutes. You can adjust that mic too if you need to. Looks like it might be a little too high, but.
Cheryl Tucker, 434 South Cornell. I just have an observant question.
Okay.
Why do, when we do a non-bidding and competitive bidding thing, why do we only get 2 proposals all the time? Is that just common practice of the village, or just to get 2 proposals and then go from there, or is it?
Sometime, thank you,
Yep,
Aaron.
yep, go for it.
Sometimes we're between a rock and a hard spot trying to get the projects done. In this particular case, Director Giskelis, would you like to give the background for this particular issue?
Is the other, second part of that question is there a cost to get these proposals? Is that why we only get 2?
Okay. Yep. Yep.
It'd be easier to answer the second question first. Going through the competitive bidding process, yes, there is a cost to it. You have to develop a full set of plans and specifications, and you have to go through the public advertisement process. And it takes 30 days, and there is a cost involved to that. When the price is close to that $20,000 threshold, you're kind of not sure which way to go, because the cost of bidding is the same whether it's a $20,000 project or a $200,000 project. So, you know, we did everything that we do normally with the bidding process except for the public advertisement in this case. We solicited competitive pricing, but they came in over the $20,000. We solicited prices from contractors that either have performed this type of work before or were already working in the area.
Okay.
Contractors are already busy, so we picked 2 contractors in the area that we knew would give us a bid. Sometimes it's difficult just to get somebody to give you a price, especially for a job this small. I mean, $20,000 job for a contractor is not a big job.
No.
But we do have the road program out to bid, so we do want to get the repairs done before the road starts.
Right.
So we did get competitive pricing, it's just the advertisement part that we did not follow.
That also explains why we waived the competitive bidding, because it's just so close, and I guess the slim pickings too out there.
Right.
And
I
we
know there
worked with
was
them
legislation proposed to raise it to $30,000, but I don't think that has
Not
passed
to my
it.
knowledge, it has not
Yeah,
been.
and we've worked with this company before, and they've done really
They're
good
doing
work.
the North Avenue Town Homeless Station. I think that's why they were the lower price.
As long as they can do the job for that price, and they do it right, and they do it well. Okay. Any other questions from the public, though?
My understanding is what you said, that when you put these out to these 2 contractors, we had to pay for the proposal, or is it only competitive bidding that we have to?
Competitive bidding.
Okay, so why did we only get 2 contractors? Why did we only get 2 proposals? Why didn't we ask other contractors, or did we? And there was only 2 that were interested in. Because previously, we've only gotten 2 proposals for everyone that seems to come up for non-competitive bidding. I understand the non-competitive bidding idea. We don't want to spend the money if we don't have to, but
Right.
why do we not get 4 or 5 proposals for the project from contractors and compare them? Why does it always seem to just be 2?
Okay. Well, perhaps
I
Vitas
can't
can
speak
tell us
For the other
that.
instances, but for this time, we identified 2 contractors that we knew would bid on our project and give us competitive pricing. I can't speak for other projects, why it's 2. I can only speak for this one.
And perhaps get it done pretty quickly, too, I guess. The timelines are,
Right, we do want to get the
Tight.
repair. We had to televise all the sewers in this
Right.
project area in-house. That took time, so that was the other factor why we were up against the bid deadline, because we did all the televising in-house to save money there.
okay. All right. Anybody else from the public? Are we good? I'm going to toss it up here now. Oh, okay. Trustee Case.
Why isn't this considered into the road referendum, this repairs? Why wouldn't that be thrown in there?
Well, again, the design was being undertaken for the road repairs by a consultant. We televised these in-house. We only identified 4 locations. If we had identified 10, yeah, we would have rolled it into the project, but for 4 repairs, we figured it would be cheaper just to do it separately.
Okay. And to back up the question, John Neary is very highly recommended to do this work, so I can back him up on that one, so.
Yeah, he's definitely got a name,
Yes.
out there, and he's done work for us before, and we haven't heard anything but good reviews, so. Okay. Anything else? Trustee Case, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, how about anybody? Oh, Trustee Kazone.
Just real quick, is this the taps into the main from a residential, or is this?
No,
the
these are main
itself?
main
This is
repairs.
the main itself
These
that's been
are
repaired.
right on the main line.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Good. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay, item number 10 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing acceptance of a proposal from HD Supply Waterworks Group Incorporated of Carroll Stream, Illinois, for water meter transmitters and waiving the requirement of competitive bidding. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village currently uses a phone read water meter reading system as its primary method of obtaining water meter readings. Beginning in May of 2014, the village implemented a conversion plan to a radio read system in which water meter readings are transmitted by radio signal. Staff requests authorization to purchase 1,880 smart points at a price of $125 each from HD Waterworks Supply of Carroll Stream, Illinois, for a total amount not to exceed $235,000. There are sufficient funds available in the water fund account 8250202401 in fiscal year 2015-16, which is this fiscal year, for this purpose. Thank you, Ron.
Okay. Before I kick it to the public for questions and comments, just want to reassure the public that you may have seen some articles in the paper recently, particularly about Tinley Park and their water meter issues, and I feverishly contacted the manager to make sure we weren't going to be dealing with the company that was involved in that particular article. Whatever's happening with that is happening with it, but I've asked the staff to give us a quick little update on that to reassure you that it's not, it's completely different company and situation, so.
That's correct, Your Honor. It's completely different. We're not dealing with that company. We're not actually changing the water meter unless we have to. We're changing the transmitting part from a phone read to the radio signal. So we're not dealing with that company at all. We're dealing with the same company we've dealt with for the last 20 years at least.
Okay. So.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, great. I'm going to avoid exposés here on the water meter situation. Okay. Anybody from the public have any questions and comments for us about this item? You good? Okay, how about the board? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. So if this is approved, then all the residents in Villa Park will be on this radio transmitted system, is that correct?
Not all of them, 1,880.
Okay.
And we switched out a few last year and took care of some of the issues that we had. And then moving forward, looks like this year PW wants to do 880, and then probably next year will be maybe another 1,880 or so. But eventually we want to get onto the radio signal and not the phone read. With the phone read, the actual the phone line is used, and you call in your water meter reading, and sometimes you can't get through, and it rings and things of that nature. But maybe Director Descales could.
Well, we did a little over 2,000 last year, so this would bring us up close to 4,000. So our target to get everything is about 7,000, so we'll be a little bit more than halfway there.
That's all I have. Thank you.
In regards to the accuracy, because I know there's been some transition and some bills are kind of, high one month, low some months, but usage might be around the same, so.
Well, again, this is a transmitter.
So that
This is
doesn't have anything
strictly
to do with that,
transmitting
okay.
the reading. We're just using a different way of transmitting the readings.
Okay.
People are using landlines less, so
Yeah.
we have fewer and fewer
Okay.
actual phone reads that can call in their readings, so we have to take them manually. So we're doing those first so that we can do an automated read again by just driving up and down the street rather than
Okay.
having to go touch the wand on every single house. So that's the purpose of doing that now. It's just we're getting fewer and fewer reads automatically called in
Okay.
every month. And since we went to monthly reads, we have to read the meters every month now.
Yes.
So there's a compounding of the problem.
Yeah, okay. All right, Trustee Bolfus.
And the question, why are we waiving the competitive bid?
It's a sole source supplier. Last year, we were purchasing these every 2 weeks, and that did not seem to make sense. So we thought it best just to seek approval for the entire purchase for the year. And
So there's nobody else to bid on, right?
that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? You good? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes, okay, we're going to convene to the formal agenda now. Okay. All right. The formal agenda. Number 1 on the agenda is Village President's Report. I have a few things, so bear with me. I've asked Manager Keener and staff to provide a couple updates for us. The first update is what the scheduled 2015 road projects and the 2015 patching projects entail in regards to timeline. A number of us on the board have had questions from the residents, when is it going to get started? Where are we at on the project? What's going to get done again? So I've asked the manager and staff to give us a kind of a nice overview update on where we're at. So as I'm looking at, we're both looking at the Public Works Director, Vitas.
Well, I was going to, but I coughed.
But yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you can just kind of.
I don't know if the manager distributed a map.
I only have the one.
Oh, no, there should be a whole stack of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, there is. I
All
thought
right,
there were
we'll take
multiple
one
different
and-
ones. I'm a
Okay.
slacker.
So the maps that the manager is passing out pretty much contains the entire 2015 program.
And is this on the
The map is
website?
on the website. That same information is contained in the 5-year capital improvement program. And it is also available in those booklets that we distributed several months ago listing the 2015 street improvements. So
Right.
it's the same list. The list has not changed. The patching, because it was maintenance work, was not in the capital improvement program, so that work was separate. That work is all completed, so everything that says patching there is completed. Tomorrow, we will be opening bids for the 2015 Street Improvement Program contract number 1, which is the asphalt work. And we will also be opening bids tomorrow for the Twin Lakes Area Street Improvement Program, which is also asphalt work.
Okay.
The concrete work, the bid opening will be next week. So that, once all those are open and presented to the board, then that just leaves Park Boulevard and Michigan Avenue for us to make a decision on moving forward. Those projects are nearly designed, and I think we're going to be bringing discussion at the July meeting regarding some issues regarding that, especially the funding for the storm sewer portion of the project.
Along with High Ridge.
Right.
You're under-
Altogether, we have 6.61 miles of streets proposed to do this year. All the work, all the asphalt work and the concrete work, assuming we get favorable bids and the projects move forward, will be done this year. Michigan Avenue, because there's a water main associated with that and we're seeking EPA loans, the earliest we're going to get that loan is September.
This for South Michigan you're referring
Right,
to.
so our plan there is, once we get all the funding identified, to bid it this year, get all the underground in before winter, and then do the pavement work in the spring. Park Boulevard, which we're also going to be bringing for discussion, that could be ready to bid as soon as next month, again, assuming as we identify the funding for the storm sewer.
Okay.
And Harvard, which is just the widening, that starts tomorrow. That's already been awarded, and Addison, Village of Addison is taking the lead on that. They're
Right.
also doing their portion of the street.
And when we list this on the website, it's great to have the map, but can we also list, 'cause we've got, very detailed information that's written out, the road and what's going to be done, whether concrete, asphalt, or whatever, that we can put on the website as well.
The entire-
Next to the map, so they're not having to look, and they can actually physically, at a glance, look at the list.
The
itself.
entire book that describes all the project will be updated to reflect these contracts. We're going to post the entire thing as a PDF on the website.
Okay, perfect. And we could put it a link that's really easy to find.
Right, we're going to have
on the
multiple
front.
links to get there.
Okay,
There's
great.
also a complete description of every project on the project, so we'll
Right.
try and make it easier for people to
Yeah,
navigate
so they
to
can
that
just go
portion of the
boom
website.
right to it. Okay, all right. So 6.61 miles are proposed this year.
That's correct.
So proposed, we'll get them done then this year?
Well,
The ones
except
that are
for
in the
Park and
20
Michigan.
Right, yeah, we'll
Park is
discuss them.
.37 miles, Michigan is .49. Those are
Okay.
the two that will probably carry over.
Okay.
So, say 5.8 miles will be
Yeah.
done this year.
So, and these are just under the road referendum funds, or is this all
This is a
combined?
combination of both,
Combination of
referendum
both.
and non-referendum street improvement.
Okay. So I know we budgeted, around 10 million or thereabouts for street projects this year, for this whole year, I think I saw. We discussed during our budget meeting, so we've got quite a
Right,
bit of money.
these are all the
set
streets
aside.
that we can do-
Combined, of
Right.
course, it's not just road referendum funds.
These are all the streets that we can do that don't involve underground work. Those with underground work, we We have to identify what to do going forward, either find funding for the underground work or to defer the underground work on those projects.
Okay. Right, yeah, we'll have to have a discussion about that, for sure. All right. Anything else you want to add, Manager Keener, to that?
No, you don't, thank you.
Okay, how about the patching, the 2015 patching? Because some residents are seeing the patching, which is just a temporary fix to get you through until your road can actually be done. There's some confusion. They think maybe because the road referendum was passed and this year it starts, that's kind of their final product. So,
Yes, we
yeah,
did send
just
out
wanna make
letters
sure
to
we-
residents on those streets informing them that it is a temporary
Okay,
patch.
good, yeah.
And most of the other patching was on streets that weren't on the referendum, so those wouldn't be an issue. And all the patchwork is completed, so if you don't have a patch by now, you're probably going to be waiting for either in-house work or a regular road project.
Okay, all right, okay. All righty then. I think that's all I had on that one right now. And then in regards to our last storm, which was a week ago tonight, as a matter of fact, we all remember that, I'm sure. We had a command center set up, the police department. We were in contact with various county and local agencies, and just kind of wanted staff to kind of give us an update on what kind of rainfall we had. I was driving around out there. I'm sure other board members were out there too. It was quite, of course, as usual, a sight to see. So if you want to just kind of give us a quick overview of what we saw last week, and let's hope we don't have that tonight, because we've got storms coming tonight too, supposedly.
Well, actually, we started the previous Friday in anticipation of the rain coming.
For
And we
tonight.
had some rain that week, so
Yep.
the ground was already fairly wet.
Yep.
Going into the weekend.
Yeah.
We had enough rain that our wet weather treatment plant actually already started operations on Saturday before the big rains even hit. So the ground was already saturated before Monday. On Sunday, we received 2.1 inches, another 3.6 inches on Monday. And on Monday, it was the high-intensity rain during that 2-hour period that resulted in the flash flooding. That's when we opened up the Emergency
June 14th.
Operations Center.
Yes.
Total for the week as of Thursday was 6.9 inches.
6.9 inches for the
And that-
week.
and that's from Saturday, June 13th through Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I know Elmer's opened the quarry, and the county was kind enough to loan us their sandbagging machine and some materials so we could prepare extra sandbags in addition to what we already had in our stash. So those are already,
Besides what we gave up, we now have 7 pallets in storage for future events.
yeah, so if
And we were
anything-
supposed to return the sandbagging machine today, but I think we kept it for one more
Well,
day.
we can actually keep it for the week. Yeah, our county, Pete DeCiani had mentioned to me that if we need it for this week, we can keep it. So if we need it, we can keep it. Okay, so we have enough sandbags then, so if anybody happens to need sandbags, if they haven't already, we put some alerts out today that if sandbags were available, and they are, they can come and get it if they want, in preparation of anything that might come tonight, so.
I believe there were
the
some out
rest of the
Saturday
week.
night as well.
Yeah, yeah, so, and they're out, what, at 40 West Home,
Yes.
the pallet there, and then
Yes.
we can get more if we need more. We've got it in our stash, okay, so. A little bit of help anyway. Sandbags don't help, the flooded streets and backyards that we saw, but at least it's a little something we can do. And also, Public Works went out and pumped out South Michigan, as a matter of fact.
2 different
too.
locations.
Yes, so appreciate that as well. And I heard from residents from that area, they were very appreciative of that. So. Okay, anything else in regards to the flooding that I didn't ask? Or
Well, one of the things we will do now is take the data from the last storm and match it up against the flood control studies and see how many of these areas that suffered last event were addressed somehow in the flood control studies. And early results is yes, some of them were in suggested project areas in either the Burke study or the V3 study.
Yeah.
So
Euclid
that
and
just
Washington, for
reinforces the
sure.
need for those projects.
Yeah. And of course, we mentioned call 911 if, you have flooding and issues, so we can get that documented, because that also helps us when we go seeking extra funding and additional assistance too. It's good to have that documentation. So if for some reason we have another issue tonight with the weather, please call 911 so we can get that documented. So we keep track of that on a form, so for the file, so we can use it later. Okay. Thank you very much. And speaking of the floods, If you have any flood debris left over from the flood, if you happen to have a flooded basement or something along those lines, you can continue to put that out with your regular garbage collection day through this Friday, June 26th. So residents are just asked to put the items on the opposite side of the parkway from where you put the household waste and recycling, so it doesn't get intermingled. They can take care of that for you until this Friday, June 26th. But they're not going to be taking any electronic recycling. We do that on the third Saturday of every month from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Public Works Garage at 20 West Holmes. And that's free for residents and only residents. You have to show an ID. We had some folks in the past from other businesses, I should say, that were utilizing our recycling and they weren't supposed to. So basically, for you and only you, just make sure you show an ID. So that's this, what did I say, the third Saturday of every month. A couple more things, bear with me. Just wanted to say what a great job the folks for the Summerfest Commission and all the volunteers did pulling together another great event. I was there on Friday night. And it was pretty packed on Friday night. They had entertainment and just a lot of great things going on. They had some engine contests, and we had a car show, and it was just really a lot of fun. So just thanks to the sponsors and to the staff that helped out. It takes a lot to pull an event off like that. So just really appreciate all the hard work that went into that evening, and the weather held off. Saturday got a little dicey, but for the most time during the day on Saturday it was good. Also wanted to bring to your attention that the police department recently released a press release in regards to an arrest that was made recently, theft by deception arrest. And if our police chief would like to speak to anything in particular about that. Basically, they arrested somebody for deceptive practices, and he was basically agreeing to complete remodeling projects at the victim's residence, in which the projects were never completed. And the family became aware of the situation when they were contacted by the victim's bank and notified of numerous suspicious payments being made by this particular individual and the victim. So if this sounds eerily familiar to anybody else in the community, the police is asking that you contact them to let them know what, if any, experiences you've had. Please call Detective Campos at 630-592-6162. So this guy's in big trouble. All right. Big trouble. And thanks to our police for catching him, and hopefully there aren't any other victims out there, but if there are, we want to know about it, so pile it on. So deceptive practices don't pay. All right, you'll get caught and you'll be thrown in prison. Okay, also just wanted to mention that the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, the resident survey deadline has been extended to Friday, July 31st, so we can collect more information from you. We want to hear what your ideas are and all that good stuff. We've sent it out via SurveyMonkey, which is through the internet, email, but for those that don't have internet access, is there a paper version that's available to the residents? And I'm looking at Greg Gohl, our Director of Parks and Rec. So you want to come up here really quick? Just kind of tell us how the folks that don't have access to SurveyMonkey, how they can get their hands on that.
Yes, we're going to provide a paper copy in the water bills, which
perfect.
the next water bill.
Yes, okay, great. So please
Yes.
take a couple minutes to fill
We
that
need your
out.
input, yes.
Yes, yeah. What kind of questions are they asking? Just
Parks, playgrounds, pools,
Yep.
recreation center, how much and how often they use the rec department,
okay.
what parks they go to,
Yeah.
those type of things.
Yeah, so good
Improvements
questions. Yes.
that they want to see.
Yeah, because this is going to be a facility for you, so we want to make sure we collect as many details as we can about it. So we appreciate that, and the Parks and Rec Commission too, working in concert with everybody on this.
Thank you for mentioning
So yes. Okay, thank you for that. Let's see, where am I? Okay. The July Coffee with the Board is going to be canceled because it happens to hit right on the 4th of July, that Saturday. So we're going to cancel it, and we're going to plan to resume the coffee on August 1st, which is the first Saturday in August. It's always the first Saturday of the month, 9 o'clock here at Village Hall. So we're going to be walking in the parade. And speaking of the parade, just wanted to mention, because our next meeting is going to be after the parade, so I want to put that out there. It's going to be on the 4th of July, literally, beginning at 12 p.m. We're going to follow the same route as we followed last year. It's about 2 miles, and it's going to launch from the Trinity Lutheran Church parking lot at Ardmore and Central. The route will start at Central to Harvard, then south on Harvard to Madison, east on Madison to Summit, north on Summit to Park Boulevard, west on Park Boulevard, ending back at Trinity Lutheran Church parking lot. It's very heavy residential. Pull up your lawn chairs. We've even seen some couches pulled up on the parkway. It's hilarious. But, you know, whatever makes you comfortable. We're looking forward to, hopefully it won't be too hot, but we've walked in 100-degree weather and we walked in 75-degree weather. So we'll walk in any degree. But we'd love to see you out there. If you're interested in learning more about the parade, this is put on by our local VFW, Post 2801, so we need to support them. If you would like to sponsor, participate in some way, or share, you know, volunteer, whatever you want to do, call the VFW at 630-834-8191. And that's it. I'm done. Okay. Thank you very much for all the information staff provided. Item number 2 on the formal is the public comments on the agenda items. This is in regards to item number 4 on our formal agenda, the consent agenda. So if anybody has anything on your mind about that, now's the time. Otherwise, you can speak on non-agenda items, item number 5. So, anybody? Okay. Seeing none for public comments on the agenda items, we are going to move on to item number 3, amendments of the agenda. This is for the formal agenda. Does anybody on the board have any amendments to the formal? Okay, moving on. Okay, item number 4, consent agenda. This is items A through K on your agenda. I'm just going to read the listings for the record. A, bill listing dated June 22nd, 2015, 1 of 2, in the amount of $31,228.85. B, bill listing dated June 22nd, 2015, 2 of 2, in the amount of $293,421.96. C, minutes from Village COW meeting for June 8th, 2015. D, minutes from the Village formal board meeting for June 8th, 2015. E, minutes from the Village special board meeting for May 18th, 2015. F, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Chapter 25 of the Municipal Code. G, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale of public auction of surplus personal property owned by the village, in that case, bicycles. H, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the purchase of a new fire department ambulance from Foster Coach Sales Incorporated. I, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a sanitary sewer reimbursement policy. J, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing acceptance of a proposal from John Neri Construction Company, Incorporated of Addison, Illinois, for point repairs at 4 locations and waiving the requirement of competitive bidding. K, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authoring acceptance of a proposal from HD Supply Water Works Group, Incorporated of Carroll Stream, Illinois, for water meter transmitters and waiving the requirement of competitive bidding. And that's it. Motion on the consent agenda.
Madam President,
Trustee Volpus.
make a motion for the consent agenda.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Madam President.
Trustee Case.
Second.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Any additional questions and comments for any reason?
Madam President,
Yes,
one quick
Trustee
question.
Kazan. Sure.
And probably should have been under amendments. Under F, we had discussed about changing that 30-day limit. Do we need to pull that off and bring it back under change, or?
The ordinance said whatever date is in the notice, and I would assume there has been appropriate instruction made, and we will continue with regard to the notice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Trustee Gazone. All right. We are going to roll call vote.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. Item number 5 is public comments on non-agenda items. This is your opportunity to approach the podium. We'll have you state your name for the record and sign on that fancy piece of paper we have at the podium. And we kindly ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes in case we have a number of people who want to speak. So if there's anybody in the audience for non-agenda items. Okay, it's okay. Okay. All righty. Thank you. All righty. Thanks for coming tonight, and state your name for the record.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Bill Sills. I live at 315 South Wisconsin Avenue. I'm here to discuss a handout that I gave to some of the board members that they will see the problem that I'm having in front of my house.
Okay.
Off and on for 30 years, I've been trying to get the Public Works Department to come out and fix a depression in front of my house so that the water there, that accumulates there will drain into the sewer grate in picture number 5. So far, I haven't had much luck. So my only recourse was to come here to the board and hope they, knowing my problem, will recommend to the Public Works Department that they include my address on the list of streets to be repaired. That's all. Any questions from the board? I'd be happy to answer.
You said 30 years, if we heard you?
30 years.
30 years.
Sometime within, I would say, the summer of '85, they brought in the water from Chicago. They tore up the street. If you look at picture number 1, you will see the line in the street that they tore up to bring the water in. And when the subcontractor repaired the street, he did not put enough fill in front of my house. He left a depression, a shallow hollow there. And again, I said, I'm not blaming Public Works for everything. But after 30 years, I would hope not to see water.
Well, we happen to have Public Works here. You know, you've heard our director, yes, yep, okay. Vitas Giscalis, our director of Public Works.
Okay, well,
So
thank you.
Yeah, we'll get you two connected, and we'll work on this for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Done. I
When
made
did-
the 3 minutes.
When did you take the pictures?
Pardon?
When did you take these pictures?
Oh, they could have been a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I would have taken fresh pictures, but I figured these were good enough. Actually, the water you see here is not the true course of the water. Sometimes it goes across the whole front of my lot to the sewer grate there. Unfortunately, I got to say this for Public Works defense. They did come out one time, and they dug a trench, and you can see part of the trench in picture number 4. Unfortunately, the trench is higher than the water it was designed to drain. The only water that's there is rainwater that gets into the trench, and that's it. The bulk of the water, if you notice, is at the far end of my lot, and it stays there because it gets about 2 to 3 inches deep. And in order to drain it, they would have had to dig a trench that low to drain into the sewer grate. Okay, thank you.
Definitely going to get you connected with Public Works, so.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do much about what happened 30 years ago, but
Hey, I beat the 3
you
minutes.
sure did. I set it off for you. But basically now we can focus on today and tomorrow and try to do what we can to fix the
I would
issue
appreciate
now. So yeah, we'll get you two together. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks. Anybody
you.
else? Non-agenda items? Going once, going twice? Okay. Gonna move on then to item number 6, Village Clerk's Report.
No report tonight,
Good,
thank you.
okay. Village Trustees Report. I'll start to my right tonight. Trustee Voltas.
No, everything's been covered, thank you.
You've been good?
Nothing much.
Okay. All right. Trustee Case, have anything?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. We knew about the road referendum from November.
But
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm catching you on the mic there, so. All right. So go ahead, Trustee
We
Case.
passed the road referendum in November. Why are we just like getting bids now for the streets?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Manager Keener.
If you take a look at I have this list, and I don't know if you can see it at home.
Which I referenced earlier, but obviously couldn't see it.
This is the list for this year that came out of the street improvement booklet. Normally, in a year, we'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 streets, and that's it due to our funding. But if you take a look at the amount of streets that are on this page, it's just tremendous. And even though the road referendum was passed in November, it still is a tremendous amount of work to get all these roads ready to be bid out. And if you think about it, in November it passed, and here it is just the beginning or midway through a July or a June, and we're ready to go with at least, must be maybe 17 different streets. And these are the ones we'll get done this year, and we're already prepping some for next year. In fact, in the first meeting in July, you'll have before you probably the design for High Ridge that we want to get going on for construction in 2016. So it takes a tremendous amount of time and effort to get them from where we were to where they are now.
Good, I don't have to call everybody back, 'cause you just said that, so.
And he's reassuring us that the projects will get underway this year and be done,
One
Right.
more question.
right? Right. They'll be done this year yet, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
okay, all right, okay.
One more question. What's going on with Harley? Davidson over there. Are they
Oh.
starting, or?
Yeah, they are. Director Field, would you like to give a brief update, please? If she may. All right, thank you,
Absolutely.
Ryan.
Glad
Hi,
to do it.
Jan Fiola, Director of Economic Development. Actually had a conversation with the general contractor for Harley-Davidson wildfire just today. It's been an interesting coordination with all the utilities, AT&T, Comcast, ComEd, and their engineering has been very, very challenging to try to balance the site. They're paving the majority, actually all of their site, and in effort to address the stormwater detention, they've had to go with underground vaults, very expensive, and so now they're trying to balance that with some pervious pavers. So I understand that they actually wanted to start construction today, so they're just kind of waiting for sign off, and I expect any day.
Thanks.
Good. You good?
I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, trustee Kazone.
That's right. I'd like to commend Public Works. I think they did a good job during the storm. Like President Bowman said, we were driving around and there were a lot of flooded areas, but the people that I talked to, most of them said Public Works got out whenever they called and gave them a good hand getting them taken care of. And I know the board also got a couple emails complimenting fire department and community service officers. They did a nice job, so I'd like to commend the staff on that. And it's the second week in a row, I'd like to, we got a birthday, President Bullwinkle had a birthday today.
Yes.
Happy
Happy birthday.
birthday.
Again, from Facebook.
Aw, thank
so.
you. Thank you very much.
That's all I have.
That's very sweet. Yeah,
Well,
Facebook
thanks.
outed me again, you know. First trustee Case and then,
Yeah.
so, gotta
Still
shut
younger,
that one
so I
off.
can stay
Yeah.
off of Facebook.
Still younger.
Wait a minute. Yeah, well, 47 and I'm proud of it, so.
29.
29, oh, please. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very, very much. It's very nice. Okay. Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple things. I wanted to congratulate the Villa Park Library on a successful kickoff to their summer reading program.
Yeah.
And if you haven't enrolled your child in summer reading program, it's a great thing to keep their mind sharp and active during the summer months so that they're ready for the school year. And there's also an adult summer reading program for folks who wanted to do some extra reading over the summer months. So just congratulations to them. They had a great kickoff event. I wanted to thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to be your representative at World Yoga Day
Yes.
at the Odeum. And
Thank
it was
you.
a very, very interesting program.
Just thank you for doing that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
it
it.
was
Family
very-
commitments all weekend. Couldn't be there, but.
An important event for the Indo-American community, but there are lots of other folks there interested in yoga. There was a live feed from Prime Minister Modi
Oh, wow.
from India talking to the crowd, and lots of other dignitaries in a very interesting event, and they stressed the health benefits, and not to mention the spiritual benefits of practicing yoga. So it was very, very interesting, and thank you for allowing me to attend on your behalf.
Did they get you into any poses or anything?
No, I
Some of
bought
those
my.
are difficult,
I wasn't
actually.
quite sure what it was all about. I bought my yoga mat, but I didn't strike any poses.
No, all right. Okay. No action photo.
I also want to congratulate the Summerfest committee on a successful Summerfest.
That was great.
In spite of the weather that struck at the end of Saturday evening. And like others, I drove around, and I also tried to attempt to drive down Michigan Avenue between Madison and Jackson, and that neighborhood was once again had the bad flooding, the street was closed, backyards flooded.
Horrible.
And my question is, and don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we had these two studies of the watershed done with solutions to these problems. And I know these folks, like others, have suffered a long time. How can we get this moving or on the docket for future to get them a solution and I know there is a solution to that problem. How do we get that going?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're
I'll warm it up for Vitas. So Director
exercise
Deskelis is going to come and kind of talk about the 800 block of Michigan Avenue and the 700 block. Trustee Kazone and myself and Director Deskelis met this evening and basically talked about the same thing. But if Vitas would come to the microphone, but board and folks watching at home, this is a particularly difficult area due to overland flooding and the necessary sewer separation. It's going to be needed to resolve some issues, but it all goes back to funding and lack of funding for sewer separation and things of that nature. But Vitas will kind of give us the background for these two areas.
Right, that area is addressed in the V3 Sugar Creek Basin flood control study. We've had the final draft for about a week now. The area encompasses both Addison and Madison, that area that flooded, the streets adjacent, down to Jackson, Jackson Pond, possibly some future storage on Willowbrook High School, and getting basically a additional storage area and relief sewers going anywhere from 40-something inches to 72 inches, routing in the Jackson Pond, and then routing Jackson Pond to a second depressional storage area on Willowbrook High School, and then to Sugar Creek. So you remember the price tag? I thought it was $7 million.
It was way up there.
Yeah, it was way up there.
For that. The county does have some seed money for us under the Superstorm Sandy. They have $500,000, which will help us at least create additional storage. Before we can build the relief sewers, we need to create some place to store that additional water that we're going to convey. So expanding Jackson and creating the other storage area, if we can get permission from the high school, would be phase one of that. And then you start from the low end and work your way up with the relief storm sewers. So we're meeting with DuPage County on the Sugar Creek Watershed Plan. We have a follow-up meeting in Lombard at the end of this month. If all these projects get written into the county's official plan, then they would be eligible for federal funding going forward. And then the county would assist us in finding additional funding. But absent that, we would have to come up with our own funding sources to complete those improvements. There's a total of 73 homes that were identified in that study that are affected by this overall drainage shed and its problem areas that would see a significant reduction in flooding should this project be implemented. So that's by far the largest single area that was identified in any of the flood control studies that could be helped by a series of projects.
So only contingent on what the county comes up with, we'd be eligible to go after federal funding, like FEMA, for example, or could we still try to seek out FEMA?
Well, that's what we're talking about. It has to be in an approved watershed plan to be eligible for any type of FEMA funding. But FEMA funding, just based on our experience, does take years to get. And there's a lot of hoops. And FEMA typically does not fund storm sewers. They only fund expansions to reservoirs. So we would probably have to fund the storm sewers ourselves if we were able to get additional federal funding from FEMA.
Is FEMA the only source, or?
Typically for flood control, I'm not aware of any other significant source. The state used to fund some flood control projects, but given their financial situation, I don't see that happening, at least not in the near future anyway.
Maybe we could try to dig a little deeper and see if there's something else out there we can go after. So, anything else?
Thank
you good?
you for that response.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item number 8 then, village manager's report.
Well, Honor, Your Honor,
Got
let's
this.
see. Yes.
Vita's passed me that note to share, so we need to share that
Yes.
if you'd like.
I'd like to briefly just discuss the 2015 preliminary flood insurance rate maps. It's been a question, probably for the last 6 months, and even more so recently. If you don't realize that FEMA right now has a collection of insurance rate maps that are going to be updated, and there will be a open house on July 29th between 4 and 7 p.m. And I believe it's going to be at the county's auditorium.
It is.
And so if you're interested, and if you'd like to know if your home is within the floodplain, etc., please take some time and visit on July 29th between 4 and 7 the county's auditorium and take a look at your map. And that would be the time to raise any opposition or concerns that you would happen to have. And if you have some questions, please contact us here at the village. Be happy to share some thoughts. And we will be also at the meeting on the 29th. So thank you, Your Honor.
I think Public Works is sending letters to the residents in that area as well. Is that right? Just telling them about the.
Yes.
Looks like we are based on this.
Well, when we reviewed the preliminary floodplain maps, we identified properties that we believe are being mapped into the 100-year floodplain for the first time.
Right.
So that's who we're sending the letters.
Okay.
So those that were in the floodplain and will continue to be in the floodplain, we're probably not going to notify them because there's no change involved. But those that weren't, that are being mapped in, we
Right.
definitely will notify them. But there's also some people being mapped out, so we'll probably do a second letter letting people know that you're coming out of the floodplain. So if you're paying flood insurance now, how do you stop paying flood insurance? Because we're not quite sure of that process either. So some will actually benefit from this, but some will be now mapped into the floodplain
Right.
and be required to purchase flood insurance.
Yes.
That's why we wanted everybody to be aware.
Yes.
FEMA does have a website with the preliminary maps. It's too long for me to read off, but it is on our website, and we'll have a link to it so that people can look at the preliminary flood maps and see if they're being mapped in or out,
Well, and
or
we had-
not changing.
We'd had a meeting with the residents, a month or so ago, and showed them the maps and
That was one
staff-
particular group of residents,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
correct.
And staff had mentioned during that meeting that
And
letters
some of them
would
will be getting letters.
Yes, and so I wanted to thank you because in that meeting it was said that staff would send letters to them, so that very much appreciated. Follow through on that. Okay, thank you. Are you good? Do you have anything else?
No, I'm sorry. I
Okay,
passed.
no
Thanks.
problem. Probably already told me that. Okay, item number 9 is village attorney's report.
No report.
No report. All right. We'll move on to item number 10 then. Consider executive closed session, A, 5 ILCS 120-2, C5, purchase or lease of property, and B, 5 ILCS 120-2, C6, sale or lease of property. I have a motion to convene into exec session?
Madam President,
Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to make that motion.
We have a second over here?
Madam President,
Trustee Bolfus.
second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote to go into exec session.
Okay, Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bowinkle?
Yes. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into exec session, finish up some business, and then we'll come out of exec session and adjourn and take care of some action items from closed session. So we'll be back. I have to go take care of some business right now. So we'll see you in a little bit.